O hidden life, vibrant in every atom, O hidden light, shining in every creature, O hidden love, embracing all in oneness, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. So, thank you, friends, for joining today. We are very grateful and honored that a very senior member of Theosophical Society in India, Brother B.D. Tendulkar ji, he has uh, agreed to give a talk to us. Brother Tendulkar ji is a national lecturer for last several years of the Theosophical Society in India, as well as has been the president and secretary of. So he's been an office bearer of the Maharashtra Federation. He has also done a lot of social service and now is serving us by going around the country and giving talks. So I will not take much time and I will invite Brother B.D. Tendulkar ji to give his talk today on our paths to the masters.
Yes.
So, brother.
Thank you, Rajiv for your kind introductory remarks. I also thank Shankar Lodge of the Delhi Theosophical Federation for giving me this opportunity to express my views on this topic, our way to the master. I feel it's a very important topic for all aspirants. We have joined Theosophical Society in order to feel the presence of the masters, and more particularly those in the esoteric school, make conscious efforts to come closer in the sphere of influence of the masters. Generally, we feel that coming in the proximity of the masters is possible if we can travel to the places like Tibet, where their ashrams are located, and which is not an easy task. But is it really necessary? That is a question must be clarified. Because it is also said that masters can be found here and now, and no need to go to distant places. This is very clear from the letter which Master K.H. had written to Brother Leadbeater when he was requesting for curtailment of his probationary period of 7 years in India. What is perhaps really necessary is the attitude and the motive with which we approach this problem of coming into the sphere of influence of the masters. When we are considering this issue of treading the way to the master, what is really important is our attitude and our motive in undertaking this task. We really have not that capacity which the adepts have. Adepts, they can see past, present, future at the same time. And they are quite well aware of our past and our future possibilities. And we cannot judge this on our plane of consciousness, physical plane mainly. Are we free from all the limitations which normal aspirant comes across? We have so many personality limitations. We seek personal comfort. We need assurance. We look out for power, prestige. These are the motives which obstruct our path. It has been said the soul's voice will be heard in Master's world only when we are completely free from personal comfort, assurance, prestige, power, etc. Then only voice of our soul will be heard in the Master's world. In the Light on the Path also, it has been said, be warned, way to be sought for its own sake, not with regard to your feet that shall tread it. What does this mean? Way to be sought for its own sake, not with regard to your feet that shall tread it. So there is a complete self-forgetfulness needed here. As long as there is a consciousness that I am doing something to tread the path, that little lower self is present. When that is not there, then our path is free. To A.P. Sinnett, Cage once wrote in his letter, nothing draws us to any outsider save his evolving spirituality. And here, Master has quoted outstanding examples of those who were well-known personalities of those days, like Bacon and Aristotle, who were considered as great philosophers and authority in knowledge that they possessed. But what Cage wrote to A.P. Sinnett, he says, he may be a Bacon or an Aristotle in knowledge and still not even make his current felt a feather's weight by us. So, intellectuality and your brightness, smartness in knowledge, information, all those things do not count at all for the masters. Not even make his current fates a feather's weight. These are the words of the master. What matters is the evolving spirituality. which masters can see from the past to the future, whether there is that potential in the person, whether there are those seeds of spirituality awakened. They have used the word as dawning spirituality. So the night is over, the darkness is over, and the light has started gradually shining. So that is the real test so far as would-be disciple is concerned. Even Annie Besant had said, it is your purified heart, not your well-filled head, that draws you to the master's feet. So here again, the same fact is underlined and emphasized. How much our intellect, our brain, the possession of information and knowledge that we possess makes very little impact so far as our approaching near to the masters. Voice that can speak in the presence of the masters is man's dawning spirituality. So it is only when spirituality starts opening up, unfolding, and developing that the voice of the soul is heard in the presence of the masters. Sometimes we mistake this for the pity or pitosity, which we may display to people. We have pity for the poor, for the ugly, for the disease. But feeling of pity is different from love. It's not love. What is really expected is an heart filled with sympathy, compassion, love. Many times we have love, but that love is personal love, partial love, love for particular persons. What is really required is a universal character so far as these noble qualities of soul are concerned. We must feel love for all, compassion, sympathy for all deserving people. That feeling should be for the whole of humanity. Many times, this spirituality is also mistaken for psychical development. If somebody has developed lower siddhis or iddhis, it is possible either by inheritance or by some other means also, which are not really recommended because they don't really support the spiritual growth and development. So there are people who can develop powers of, say, extrasensory perception or clairvoyance or clairaudience. And we are very much impressed by those manifestations of psychic development. Many times, people who are looking for Guru mistake such people as spiritually advanced people and aspire to become their disciples. Here, we must be able to differentiate between psychic development and spiritual development. Because such psychic abilities were there even in the man in his primitive stage, when the intellect has not developed and the natural instincts were good enough to support him with this kind of faculties. So those are not the lasting faculties, and they do not lead necessarily to spiritual development. They disappear when intellectual development takes place. Annie Besant has said, spirituality is intuitive perception of unity of all life. So only those who have developed that capacity of intuitive perception feel the unity of life in everything. We say life is one, but do we really feel it in the variety of forms, living forms that exist? We are intensely separative in our perception. We treat ourselves as separate from all others, not self. That is clear indication that we are lacking that spiritual development. What are the qualities of spirituality? This is one, what Annie Besant has said. Ability to perceive unity in all units living. Radhakrishnan, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, a well-known philosopher, he has said, God is life. Recognition of that is spirituality. So again here, there is no difference between concept of God and concept of life. One who is able to see God in every living being is a spiritual man. So these are the signs which show the development of spirituality. Spiritual man is intensely pious. But there are also people who are pious without spirituality. As I mentioned earlier, say pity. They may express pity towards others. St. Paul has said, fruit of spirit is love, joy, peace, gentleness, faith. So these are again the characteristics or the qualities of character. A person who is spiritually advanced is always full of love, full of joy, full of peace. He is serene. Gentleness will always be seen in his walk and talk. He has unshakable faith in the divine, in the future. He has no doubts. These are the qualities associated with developing spirituality. Again, the test of spirituality doesn't lie just in negative goodness. A person may have lived a life without committing faults. Does that indicate spirituality? He had never had an opportunity to face the trials, tests, challenges to overcome in his profession, in his job. If there are no temptations, how can we say that person has really a good character? So, one has to pass through various kinds of trials and tests. He has to be intelligent, unselfish, wholehearted, affectionate for all fellow men. He must have a desire to help all whom he can help. And this has to be done without differentiation on various grounds. It is not a matter of personal choice for somebody that those whom he likes, he will render all this help, etc. There is another quality, ahimsa. In Yoga Sutras, you will find Patanjali has given a primary place to this quality. Ahimsa is not just killing, not killing. One has to be harmless in all his acts, speech, feelings, thoughts, an extensive quality permeating all our being. So that kind of harmlessness must be a part of our being wherever we go, among whosoever we may mix. Even Voice of Silence says, to live to benefit mankind is the first step. So the first step on this path is stop living for oneself and start living for others. Are we living for the benefit of others or just for our own benefit, our own well-being? That is what mostly the members of present humanity do. We have to make a change in this kind of approach, which is self-oriented, self-centered, in which there is very little scope or consideration of not self. We are insensitive to the needs of others, problems of others, especially when we are dealing with those who are less privileged, who are weak in comparison to us. We may be stronger. We may be better placed as compared to others. So in that sense, we are elder brothers and they are younger brothers. Are we mindful of our duties as elder brothers towards younger brothers? if we are and live our life accordingly, naturally our elder brothers, who are the masters, will turn their attention to us, will strengthen our hands to enable us to help our younger brothers. Because that is the wider task for the whole of humanity, for which they have sacrificed their opportunities on further advancement in the occult hierarchy. So anyone who cooperates with them, anyone who joins the band of servers, anyone who lives his life for others, forgetting his own personal needs, desires, ambitions, and all that. It has been said by one of the masters, a man placing his own good above the good of mankind is not worthy of becoming our chela, not worthy of becoming higher in knowledge than his neighbor. So this is again a clear indication what master expect from us. We have to place others' good before our own good. We have to give first priority to others. Then only we earn that qualification, we fulfill that prerequisite to become their chela. For that, our relations with our neighbors, others, matter. We have the privilege to know more only when we live our life in this way. Knowledge comes to us, knowledge of nature's secrets, only when nature is quite assured that we will not misuse that knowledge. We will make the best use of that knowledge for well-being, betterment of others. Not only human beings, but even other kingdoms of nature. So this again should not be forgotten, that a much greater role is expected to be played in respect of not only humanity, but towards animals, birds, plants. Even we can go up to the elementals, because evolution is a process covering everything. Evolution is going on at all levels of existence. And therefore, beings on the levels below our level of existence is a matter of concern for us. We have to be cooperator with nature in evolution of all other lower kingdoms of nature. So how we live our life, not only with human beings, but with other evolutionarily lower beings, those who are not at the level of human beings, those who are at lower level, from which they will one day evolve to humanity. So we have to take care of their evolution. Obstacle in spiritual knowledge is carapace of selfhood, it has been said. Spiritual knowledge is knowledge of our divinity, of our conscious unity with eternal life, eternal love, eternal wisdom. With masters of wisdom, we aspire to meet. So this spiritual knowledge can be gained more and more as we develop this conscious unity with life, love, and wisdom. We must become sensitive enough to feel these things in our inner being, deep within us. Changes takes place, and those changes taking place within us teach us. So it is this self-knowledge which is also our guide in our spiritual advancement, in our way towards the master. Masters may not come down to our plane of existence and give us any physical instructions and guidance for our spiritual development. They have said that you leave your world and come to our world. What does that mean? We have to leave our world means we have to leave all the limitations of the material world with which our life is bound, circumscribed, limited. As a result of which, our consciousness is grossly imprisoned and contracted. And we must release it, liberate it by deliberately adopting ways of living which are really suitable, complementary to this unfoldment of our spiritual nature. HPB had said, true occultism is great renunciation of self, unconditionally, absolutely, in thought and action. So here again, there is emphasis on renunciation of self. As long as we are so much self-centered, self-occupied, self-concerned, that is our limitation, and that is also an obstacle in our spiritual progress. This renunciation should be again unconditional and absolute. And it is at every level of our existence, which means we should be willing to renounce as regards our bodily existence, our emotional existence, our intellectual existence. We are so much attached to our likes and dislikes, to our preferences, to our habits, to our opinions. We are more exclusive and unable to accept others, others' points of view, others' opinions, others' interference, others' control. What is perhaps necessary to realize is we are not separate and not also totally independent. The feeling of individuality was necessary in the earlier stages of evolution and progress. But having once reached that level of progress, now perhaps it is time for us to separate ourselves from that strong feeling of separatedness, that individual existence. We must consciously make efforts to identify ourselves with others. We must be able to feel, to think what others feel, what others think. So we will gradually become less and less exclusive and more inclusive. That is the process of oneness. That is the process. And that has to be practiced with understanding, with consciousness. When we perform actions, all actions, day to day actions, living life moment to moment, day to day, year after year, the progress must go on. It's a progression towards perfection. Whether we are progressing or just going round and round in the daily routine of life, getting involved in the pleasures of daily life, and not much experiencing and learning from life. Because development can take place only when there is a process of learning going on while living life. So that must go on. We have to practice, perhaps in the beginning, little by little. We cannot all of a sudden become saints. We are men living in this world, surrounded by all materialistic things and the limitations of our lower self, of our personality. And therefore, self-denial is not an easy task. We have to gradually develop self-denial, less preoccupation with personal things, with petty things, to which we have become used in incarnations in the past. And if this continues over a period of time, perhaps in this incarnation or perhaps in the next, one day, little self will turn into greater self. It is a constant, unseen blessing to all that lives. So this is a kind of assurance. This is a law of evolution in which we must have a faith and deep faith, unshakable. We have to practice glorious virtues. They have mentioned 6 glorious virtues: charity, morality, patience, energy, contemplation, wisdom. All these are comparable to the Noble Eightfold Path of Buddha, or even 8 Beatitudes of Christ. So we will find in all times and lands the same message has been delivered to humanity for treading on this path. So, firstly, we have to forget self and become one with all, and simultaneously for the purification of our vehicles and strengthening of our soul and soul powers, we should practice virtues in all our actions, in all our life. At the feet of the Master says, carefully guard against causes of self-deception. We have to be watchful whether we are decepting ourselves. Many times we may take upon ourselves an identity of a great soul, and we will remain under an illusion that we are progressing, while many of these things which are not really in conformity with spiritual development and progress may be buried deep into our personality, and we may not be aware of those things. Therefore, it is necessary that we must practice self-observation, spend fixed hours each day all alone in self-contemplation. It has been also said in At the Feet of the Master, we must spend time in writing, reading, purification of motives, study, correction of faults, planning work in external life. So all these are part of external life. Spiritual life is not separate from worldly life. How we live our worldly life is equally important for our spiritual progress. If we live in that way, then our sights become clear, mists melt away, interior faculties strengthen, attraction towards that is what the master say. If we live life in this way, then our internal faculties will strengthen, our sight will become clear vision, and we will develop that affinity and attraction towards the masters, and that process will become stronger and stronger. There will be greater and greater certainty in our feeling, thinking, and that will replace all lingering doubts. So we will be free from doubts. There will be abundant clarity in our thinking and in our vision. Krishnamurti used to say many times, I don't think, I only see. What does that mean? That means a vision which is guided not by thought, but by intuition. So we must one day develop that vision, right perception, guided by the higher mind, by our intuitive faculty, not by the logical, analytical lower mind. Master K.H. has written to A.P. Senate in one of the letters, I come nearer when you draw me by purified heart and readily developing will. So these are the two things which we should be mindful. Our heart should be pure, and we must have a strong will, readily developing will. So that will must grow stronger and stronger. Heart must grow purer and purer. If these two things are combined, then a steady direction in which a soul is held and moved. So these two things combined together will create a motive power, a force, and the soul is held and moved in the direction of the master. Patanjali has said, right use of will is constant endeavor to stand in spiritual being. So here again, it is the use of will, how we utilize our willpower. What is our motive? We must use our willpower to remain in constant endeavor of our spiritual being. There is always a tendency to turn back to our lower vehicles and their needs, their desires, and we lose contact with the spiritual. We shouldn't allow this to happen. Consciousness raised upwards has to remain there. We must develop that kind of ability to remain in a higher state, subtle state of consciousness at the level of the subtle mind or the abstract mind, so that we always remain in touch with our intuitive faculties. And then it is possible to make the right use of will, because again, right and wrong can be decided only when our faculty of discrimination has sufficiently grown, ripened. So we should be able to see what is right, what is wrong, what is temporary, what is permanent, what is really desirable, what is undesirable, what is necessary, what is unnecessary. All these things must instantaneously come to our understanding. No need of thoughtful process is required for deciding this. For a true aspirant, nothing daunts him, nothing depresses him. He has the patience, enormous patience of eternity, never ceasing will to serve. He is a server all the time, never ceasing will to serve. He never feels to stop serving. And he asks nothing in return for the services rendered. He is content with whatever that comes. He is prepared to face that. He prepared to accept that, because he has a firm faith that what he is doing is seeking to do eternal will. The personal will has been replaced by the eternal will. This is really what is required in an aspirant. When our personal will ceases and eternal will takes place of that personal will, the task is easy, simple, straight, and it will take momentum in no time. Such a person never claims prestige while he lives. He only seeks to give all what is his, what he is capable of giving. He is asking nothing. His one speciality is He is a free thinker. He never dogmatizes. He never imposes his will, his ideas, his thoughts on others. He never advises others without ask for it. He is ready to listen to others. He is ready to listen even where there is criticism, where there is opposition. He is prepared to face all such odds. He is there to take care of others' troubles and their bewilderment. He is able to calm them down and show them the path and to live life happily, contentedly, and turn them towards the spiritual path. I conclude my speech by what HPB has said. She says, to those dedicated to higher life, keep ever in mind consciousness that through you see no master, though you see no master. To those dedicated to higher life, keep ever in mind consciousness that though you see no master by your bedside, you don't hear one whisper in the silence of still night, yet the holy power is about you, holy light is shining into your hour of spiritual need and aspiration. So I think that is a wonderful advice she has left behind for all aspirants like us, for all time to come. Here I stop, and then we can perhaps express ourselves to whatever I have said, and if there is any question, query, I may be there to satisfy the inquirers. Thank you, sir, all listeners and the organizers of this speech. Thank you once again.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Uh, is there anyone who would like to add or ask a question? They can unmute and ask.
Thank you, Tendulkar ji. You have given a very lucid, simple words and inspiring talk.
Thank you, sir.
We'll look again for another in the future.
Certainly, sir. Yes.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. So I think you have been quite clear in what you have just said, and I think most of the people they have understood what you have just said. So
Thank you,
with
sir.
this,
Yeah.
thank you. Yes, yes. So with this, we will conclude our meeting today, and
Yeah.
with the
With
universal
universal prayer.
prayer.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
O
We'll
hidden
join
life.
together. Yeah.
Yes. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom.
Oh, hidden light, vibrant in every
Vibrant in every atom.
O hidden light, shining in every creature.
Oh, hidden
Oh,
light,
hidden
shining
light,
in
shining
every
in every
creature.
creature.
O hidden love, embracing all in oneness.
Oh, hidden
Oh,
love,
hidden love,
embracing all in
all
oneness.
May each who feels himself as one with thee
May each
each
who
who
feels
feels
himself
himself as one.
one with thee
know he is also one with every other.
know
No,
he is
he
also
is
one
also.
with every.
So thank you very much. Thank you again, Brother Tendulkar ji, and thank you all
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you, Rajuji. Thank you, Shankarji.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Very
all.
nice,
Thank you.
sir. Very nice,
Thank you.
sir. I am
Thank,
Gayatri.
thank you, Sister Gayatri,
Very
for your
nice, sir.
appreciation. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's a very nice
Yeah.
language, sir. Very simple language.
Yeah.
Everybody should understand too. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever it is there, please inform, sir.
Nice for the feedback that I am getting. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so I feel really satisfied
Yes, sir.
by whatever little service I have rendered. Thank you
Okay, sir.
once
Okay,
again.
thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, organizers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll close the meeting now. Thank you.
Yeah.